Hello everybody and welcome back to the Athlete Podcast. Today I'm joined by Reuben Ward.
Hello.
It's very lovely to have you here. We're going to be talking a little bit about gymnastics and competing, nutrition, all the good stuff that comes with being a full-time athlete. So you told me earlier that you started gymnastics when you were very young, but it was because your dad got you into it. So he was a gymnast when he was younger.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, he did gymnastics for a while, and then he obviously enjoyed it, but he wasn't quite good enough to take it very far. So he went into diving, but then when he had my sister and me, my sister was young, and then she started, and she was enjoying it. You know, she was progressing up through different groups to higher difficulty and stuff. So he decided to try and get me involved. At first I was a bit hesitant though. I can't really remember why. I just was like, no, I don't want to do it. But then eventually he convinced me to go to one of the classes, and since then I just loved it. I've always gone. Yeah, it's been tough times, but for the most part I've just loved it since I started.
I mean, do you know what? It's interesting that you say that your dad took the path from gymnastics to diving. I'm going to completely detour off from what we were talking about, but I would never thought of the link of that, you know.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's obvious now that someone said it to me, but I just would never have thought that gymnastics, diving, it's like two different worlds to me. Yeah. Anyway, so you are sort of... It goes the same as any gymnastics story starts, really. You're just completely energetic, bouncing off the walls at home, and your parents are like, well, we need to do something about this because he's going to end up whacking his head or something or hurting himself soon. And so you start training, you know, going to the club, learning different routines and whatnot, and then you sort of advance into like more intermediate skill groups and things like that, don't you? Yeah. What age did you start competing then?
I think at first I was around 7 or 8. I think about 8. It was just a club competition, just doing a bit of floor and a bit of vault. Nothing serious, just a chance to do a competition. Yeah. And then I think when I started doing regional competitions and then national competitions, I was about 10. Because they do this thing called a grades, which is like a way to get selected for the GB squad when you're young. Yeah. So everyone in the country does that, and then they usually select the best few from each year to go into the GB squad. That was my first real experience of competition.
So with it being a sport that you sort of go into very young and you begin competing very young, do you think there's ever a point where it becomes too late for maybe someone in their teens or early teens to join up into it?
Yeah. Well, I would think, based on my experience or other people I know, that starting late just makes it harder, because when you're young, your body just learns the sort of basics of the stuff quicker than when you're older. But then again, someone like Beth Tweddle, she was a gymnast, went to the Olympics and came third on the bars. She started when she was about 11, so there's proof that it's possible. If you want to start late, then you can do that. It is possible.
I mean, as you get older, you just sort of
it's harder to learn, like, sort of just the fundamentals of it. The older you get,
you lose the edge. I think the problem is that when you're a child, you don't really think about risk or anything like that. It's just I want to do a backflip. Of course, I want to do a backflip.
I think that was one of the main reasons why I got into it. I forgot about that. Actually, like, I was on the edge about starting, and I was like, you know what, I'd like to do a backflip, and then just continued.
Is that something that you can do on flat ground?
Yeah.
That's wild to me. Yeah. That is wild.
That's probably the most common question I get asked. Everyone's just like, can you do a backflip? Can you do a backflip?
Well, I hope some schools might be seeing that in your presentation. Do a little backflip. Yeah. Okay, so moving on from common questions to maybe something that doesn't get asked as much. When you're sort of moving up through the ranks and things like that, you told me earlier that even now you're only 19, so university age, you're training 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, which is insane, first of all. But second of all, what is that regiment like when you're maybe 11, 12, 13? You're getting a little bit older now.
Yeah. You know, it's quite a lot, because you're at school. Yeah. You're doing how many hours at school a day? Like 6.
Yeah.
Something like that. And then for a lot of gymnasts, pretty much every gymnast that I know, they've all gone through it, especially in high school. You train all day.
Yeah.
Then you go immediately from school to gym, do 4 hours of training, and you go home, go to bed, and then.
So they still had you on the 4 hours.
Yeah, for ages. And then sometimes when we were younger, we used to do like 1 till 8. So we do two 3.5 hour sessions in one day.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'd have to come out of school and stuff like early, like lunch, go
wow.
to train for the rest of the day. It was, it was quite a lot, but you sort of, at the time when you're used to it, you don't really realise how much you're doing. I didn't really notice it until I was in college, and I was like, wow, I'm actually just.
You're probably also thinking
days
this is
just so full. I don't even know I'm doing it.
There's just not enough minutes.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus, I bet.
Yeah, and it's hard when you're young because you're so committed to it, and you're going to gymnastics on Saturday morning and stuff like that, and you sort of miss out on some things like parties, especially when you're young.
Yeah.
Like birthday parties, sometimes you have to miss them for training, and that was quite hard for me in primary school, just because I want to miss training, but then if I miss it, then I don't know, it just sets you back a little bit. But it's sacrifices, and I think that was important to do at times.
Well, I mean, a lot of what anyone does in sport is a sacrifice, really, isn't it? You know, be it you might be a professional athlete, you might have to miss out on a wedding, you might have to miss out on some sort of christening or anything like that. But then there's also like the hidden ones that you don't really see. That every single day you're keeping up with your nutrition, your diet. Obviously, there's the time sacrifice as well. And there's also just the general like. You don't really know what could come of it because you could end up with an almost career-ending injury.
Exactly.
And you've sacrificed all this time and pushed so many other things to the side to be able to pursue it to the level that you're at.
Yeah.
There's just a lot that you do have to sacrifice. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline, doesn't it, to be able to stick with it all. How do you sort of keep yourself on track, especially when you're younger as well? Because there's just so many temptations, isn't there?
Yeah, but it's really hard when you're young because I mean I'm glad I have my parents. They sort of kept me on the right track. They didn't prevent me from doing things. They just sort of steered me in the right direction. And I'm glad they did that because when you're older, you have more freedom and you can. If I chose to, I could just not go to gym. But I know that the potential outcome, obviously it's not guaranteed, but potential outcome is worth all the hard work and the time.
Exactly.
So I'm prepared to commit my life to it at this time and go all out for it.
And you get like little glistens of it, don't you? You know, when you're coming up and you get your junior Europeans, your junior worlds, the regional tournaments and things like that. How does it compare going from a county tournament to then you got your British and then there's the Europeans and the talent pool just gets wider and wider.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You must start coming up against people that just seem like they were made in a lab.
Yeah, definitely. When you're young, then I don't know. I think I was too young to really, because you don't really think I'm competing against all of the Northwest region. It just sort of seems like a competition. Then you go to nationals, and when you're young, you don't really think I'm competing against the best gymnasts in Britain. It's just sort of another competition. But when you're older, you sort of start to realise that when you go to the British, the best people in Britain are competing. Everyone's trying to be the best, and then to sort of come out on top on competitions like that, it makes you think that I'm pretty good, and this is actually really good. And then going to junior Europeans, the sort of pressure was massive because at first I'd done all this hard work like for months from really my whole life, but mainly from the start of the year, just working ridiculously hard on my routines, getting better, going to training camps all the time, like every 2 weeks. Just so much hard work, and it all comes down to one day really. And then when I was there, I was so nervous, but because I'd done all that training, I just had the muscle memory, and I knew I didn't have to think about it. It just happened because I'd done so much training, and that's why it's important to work hard.
You have a lot of trust in yourself.
Yeah, exactly. It's just trusting the training that you've done.
Yeah.
And then knowing that you can do it.
And especially for you, you're an all-around gymnast. You do everything from floor to rings to the vault as well. It's unbelievable, to be honest. There's a lot of room to go wrong there.
Yeah, very much.
But what I thought was interesting when we were discussing it before was that some of the disciplines and events that I thought might be higher scoring, like the rings, is actually a lower scoring event. Yeah. I thought it was quite fascinating that you can lose. I mean, it makes sense how I've been told, but you can lose a lot more points in the rings than you can the vault, because the vault is it's a one and done. You know, you get straight into it. There's not so much to judge. Yeah. But how do you train for 6 different pieces all at once and then remember it all? Yeah.
You just divide your time in your training sessions, and it's you got to train smartly, because you've got to train 6 days a week. If you spend 2 hours one day on high bar, because you're swinging around on your hands and your wrists all the time, you're just going to damage your hands and your wrists, and then the rest of the week it's just not going to be productive. Whereas if you do, you sort of spread yourself around each different piece, you work hard, you make sure you're training efficiently. You just spend your time on the things that are important, and then you don't waste time or waste the skin on your hands, because it gets damaged and stuff. You don't waste that stuff.
You get super, rock hard hands.
Every time you shake someone's hand, they're like, oh, your hands are rough.
Oh, I bet. So with all your training and whatnot, you say you do 4 hours every single day. Okay. And so how do you keep up with the nutrition side of things? What are you eating before training? What are you eating afterwards?
Every morning when I wake up, I have porridge. That's just what I have. I mean, it fuels me well, and I enjoy it. Yeah. And for lunch, I don't normally have a big lunch, just because I don't want to feel too heavy when I'm training. Exactly. So I just have maybe eggs, a couple of eggs, or like toast or something like that. Nothing major. And then when I'm training, I normally just have water with me, just to stay hydrated and not sort of, I don't know, when you feel dehydrated, you just feel a bit low, and
it's terrible.
You don't want to feel tired, and so you just drink enough water to stay hydrated while you're training. Then when I get home, I just try and eat protein, carbs, and vegetables, just because that helps me recover and maintain my strength as well. Because the protein, when we're doing conditioning, you need that protein to maintain the strength or build more strength.
So what's the most common meal that you can have?
I'd say I've pasta quite a lot, like a chicken pasta after training. I have that quite often.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
It's nice, man. Like a tomatoey chicken pasta. It's nice. I'm trying to think of other things I have quite often. My mum makes this. It's like a jerk pork thing with like rice and stuff.
Okay,
it's really nice.
That sounds like the bomb, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's good. We have that quite a lot. It's like nutritious as well. It's got vegetables in it and stuff. Rice.
All that.
Pork as well. So it's got everything I need.
What do you go for when you find that you can have a little treat every now and again? What's your go-to?
I think my go-to is Mackey's.
Okay.
I don't know. It's just, I don't know. They're everywhere, so they're just And then, but I like a Subway. Do like a Subway.
Okay.
But I feel like that's less unhealthy than a McDonald's.
You feel like that? Yeah.
It feels like it. I don't know whether it is. Like, it just seems like a sandwich, and when you got lettuce in it as well, you're like.
Yeah, I don't want to be the guy, I mean, generally, if you make a sandwich, it's not going to be that bad. Yeah. But
Subway bad.
There was something about the bread that they found. Now, I don't know. This could just be in America, because they do things differently. Yeah. It's a bit wild over there, isn't it? But there was something about the bread where they found that it had the amount of sugar in it that it had in it to preserve it. It was something like they could only really class it as a cake and not bread. or something. The amount of sugar that it took to have it stay, well, not go mouldy and things like that. But I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna dunk on a Subway. I absolutely love one as well. It's hard to say no, but it's only fair that you have
every now and then you can't, in moderation, you just
exactly.
Every now and then
you go crazy, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And then you might. What's a Coke every now and again? What's a Pepsi? Exactly. It isn't, it's not going to make all that much of a difference.
If it's strictly a diet and it's just unhealthy all the time, then obviously that's an issue. But every now and then it's not a big deal.
What would you say is like the biggest dietary mistakes then?
I'd say if you're trying to maintain strength or is not having enough protein.
Yeah.
Because if you're not eating enough protein, instead of growing your muscles, you're gonna lose muscle. You're gonna the conditioning you do is gonna be not worth nothing. But if you eat enough protein, then it'll be a lot more beneficial to you. You'll gain a lot more strength and muscle if that's what you're going for. But a lot of people just don't eat enough, and then they're not seeing the results that they could because they're not maintaining that.
And then there's eggs.
Yeah, eggs are
honest to God,
so versatile as well.
It's almost like they were sent down from the heavens just to be this perfect food. There's it's close to 20 grams of protein per egg, is it not?
I think it's a little bit less, but it's good for a little tiny egg, and it's nice. You can make
super easy
6 different types.
6. What's your favourite then?
Probably scrambled.
I'm with you on that. Scrambled is always a classic. And
so good.
No one says poach because it's too difficult to poach an egg.
I know. I've never even tried. If someone makes one for me, I'll eat it. I'm not even going to attempt to do it myself.
Exactly. It's much too difficult to do that. That's a skill that only the top chefs know.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about competing at the Europeans and the Youth Olympics. We'll get back on track now. Let's sort of go into how you're feeling on event day and what your process is before you compete.
Yeah, I normally just wake up and try and replicate what I would do at training. Yeah. So I'd wake up, I'd eat a similar meal to what I would eat if I was at home. Mm-hmm. Try and just replicate everything I would do in training, so it feels less like a big deal and a big competition rather than just another day at the gym. That's pretty much it. Same with the warm-up as well. Every single thing I do in the warm-up is the same thing I do every single day at training, just to keep me in the mindset that nothing's changed. I'm just doing a routine. It might be a different venue or in front of a different crowd or different people, but it's still the exact same routine and the same process for everything. And you just got to try and ignore the nerves and focus on what you've been doing in training for the past 6 months. In that situation, it was 6 months just try and replicate everything I've been doing.
Are you big on music?
Yeah, music. Like say when you're traveling to the the venue, on the bus or something, you put on the music that kind of, differs from person to person, whether you want calm music, whether you want
exactly
hype music. And I'm just listen to my playlist and try and forget about everything, just listen to music, and when I get there I just deal with the situations as they come about.
So it sounds more like you're trying to relax.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there and trying not to focus on the scary parts of it and try and focus more on just enjoying the day like I would a training session.
Is that something that you might struggle with quite often then at competing and things like that? Getting in your head about it.
Yeah, if you focus completely on being nervous, then all you're going to think about is being nervous, and all you're going to feel is nerves. But if you focus on just taking one thing at a time and doing the best routine you can, then you're much more likely to get through that routine with no mistakes, rather than if you're too worried about the mistakes will come. Just worry about doing the things the best you can.
You don't want to sort of nurture those thoughts and then have them become a reality when you're competing, do you?
No.
Okay. And then so after an event day, is that typically the time that after you competed, is that Subway time?
It's always unless I've got a competition the next day, because sometimes you do competitions and you have finals the next day, which is like a way to win a medal. But in that situation, I'll just you know, even if you've had a good day, you just have that good day, move on, get ready for the next thing. Yeah. And then at the end of the whole competition, then you can celebrate, you can eat whatever you want, you can do whatever you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. Normally after a competition, if it's done, then I'll have a little cheat meal or something. Yeah. Just as a little reward.
And so, 2022. Yeah. You had a pretty busy year.
Yeah.
You were very active. So the number 1 and 2 things that you achieved that year was that you bronze all around at the Junior Europeans, and you were also bronze team.
Yeah.
So just going a little bit into the story of you getting on the podium getting on the podium twice in that competition.
Yeah. So there's different subdivisions of the competition. So there was some people compete in the morning, some people compete midday, some people at night. So we were in the 3rd subdivision, so we were at the end, so we knew the scores. We knew the scores we needed to get on the podium, really, other than a couple of teams who were still going in the competition at the same time as us. But you know, we knew what we had to do. We'd done all the preparation we needed to do, and we knew that if we did well in the competition, we'd get on the podium. We knew we could do it.
Yeah.
You know, we started on high bar. You know, we got through that with no mistakes. That was all good. Same with floor, and then we got to pommel, which is where we had a bit of a slip up.
Okay.
Yeah. So first person to go up, they started the routine, they fell off. So that means because 4 people compete on each piece, and then 3 of the scores count to the final score. Okay. So if one person has a fall, then the next 3 people have to do their routine perfectly. Flawlessly, and it's a lot of pressure. So
pommel.
It's the hardest one to fall off on as well. No, sorry, the easiest one to fall off on.
Oh yeah.
Any little mistake and you're off.
You can get back on and continue your routine.
It's just you lose quite a lot of potential marks if you fall off. So that was a lot. And then we just about got through. We had a little mistake, but it was, you know, we got there.
Yeah.
And rings is just, we all had pretty basic routines. We were just trying to do the best we could. That was good. And then we got to vault, and at this point we couldn't see ourselves on the leaderboard because we'd done the lower scoring pieces first.
Yeah.
And we were getting a bit worried. You know, we were like, well, what's going on? Like, we're nowhere near the top here. And then we did vault, which is a high scoring piece.
Yeah.
We climbed up to I think, where were we? 2nd, I think we were before the final piece. Mm-hmm. And we were like, all right, you know, we're in this. We can do well here. We can get a medal.
Yeah.
And then parallel bars was the last piece, and actually after vault as well, I looked up to the individual leaderboard and I saw that I was in 2nd place, and I hadn't even crossed my mind until that moment. I was
not even thinking about it, right? Yeah.
I was just doing what I could for the team, trying to do my best routines, and I saw my name. I was like, right then, I'm go and try and do my best on P bars.
Yeah.
Just do my best routines. So we got to P bars. The atmosphere was crazy. You know, we were all whoever was on the P bars, we were, you know, shouting them on, cheering them on, going crazy when they did their routine. You know, I was up last on P bars as well, so I knew that I needed. We didn't know the exact score I needed, but we knew I had to get through a decent routine for the team, and I knew myself that if I wanted to get a medal in the all around, I needed to put up a good score.
Oh yeah,
so that was a lot of pressure going onto that piece, but you know, I got through it. It wasn't my best routine, but I got through it and I was happy. And then the whole team was going crazy. We just
no mistakes too.
Yeah, P bars was a really good piece. Yeah. So you know, we just stood there waiting for the scores to come in, seeing what we could do, seeing whether we got a medal or this, and then you know it worked out well. So we got a bronze for the team, and then I got that bronze all around medal as a bonus.
Oh yeah, well, it was a fantastic
great,
outcome, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
That's what I noticed, is that GB are just fantastic on the team.
Yeah,
the team side of things is unbelievable. And so also in 2022, you had the Youth Olympics Festival, right?
Yeah.
So what is that? Because I'm sure a lot of people won't really be too well versed in it. What's it like?
It's almost like a replica of an Olympic Games.
Yeah.
It's like you get selected. It's a multi-sport event, so it's not just gymnastics there. It's, you know, boxing, badminton, swimming, judo, all that stuff. So that was a really big deal to get selected for that.
I bet.
You know, you get given all of the clothes to wear, like the Adidas stuff, Team GB and all that.
Yeah.
We got given all of that. That was just really cool. And then you know, you go to the comp and you're in like a village sort of thing.
Yeah.
It was like uni accommodations, but it was in Slovakia, so it was, they had the whole thing decorated with GB stuff. Everyone was in this one building. So
you didn't get the cardboard beds, did you?
No.
Oh, that's nice.
I'm glad about that.
Stupid beds.
Yeah. Like, they had the food halls and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It was really cool to see all of the other countries. You'd see basketball players walking around like 6'9" or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Just like, what?
Giants.
You see other people like badminton players, everything. It's just crazy to see all these people from different countries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I bet you see people at these competitions that you rarely get to see. Maybe once a year when you're competing with them. Yeah. Well, competing against them more isn't it? There must be a good atmosphere.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Everyone gets along as well. You go to the competitions and you're competitive on the day. You're doing everything you can to beat each other, but then afterwards, it's almost always civil. You get along with other people from other countries, and then there's a night at the end where you celebrate a little bit. It's like you call it a banquet. You just have a meal and then just hang around with all the gymnasts from the competition. It's really good.
Just talk about everything.
Yeah, no, it's always like you've known them for ages because I bet you have so much in commmen about all the sport, and because a lot of them don't speak the same language as well, so I don't know, it's almost like you just know each other.
You've all had the same experiences, exactly. So the communication is just it's very easy, isn't it?
Yeah, you just have a good time, like you've known them for a long time. Yeah, it's good.
So obviously, on top of European Championships, you also went to the Youth Olympics in 2022. Tell us a little bit about that, because it's more built as like a taster for the real thing, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, it's like a replica for young people who have the potential to in the future go to the Olympics. It's like it's just like a taster of what Olympics would be like. You get all the kit. It's a multi-sport event, so you're travelling with the entire team, every single person, like cycling, swimming, boxing, badminton, all of it. And it's just it's really cool, because when you're walking through the airport, you just like, it feels like what you imagine the Olympics would feel like. And it's really, really, really cool. And then you're staying at a village with all the other athletes, everyone from Team GB in one building. It's electric, really cool, sharing a room with someone who you've not met before. Because I was there with Danny and Oakley. I knew them too, but there was another guy in our room, played badminton. So it was nice to meet him. Nice to meet all the other athletes from the country, and just walking around and seeing people from other countries, just especially from sports that you're not used to. So I'm used to seeing people, gymnasts. I recognise a lot of the gymnasts, but seeing people from different sports, like different builds on people, like boxers and basketball people. It's really cool to see.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah.
And then you open up the pool of talent that's there to
it's crazy.
The entire world almost, don't you? You get you have China and Russia. And for gymnastics, China they're ridiculous. I've said robots already, but they're like cyborgs, aren't they? Yeah. It's unbelievable what they're like, especially from a young age. Okay, so moving on. Sort of into the future now. I know that you're looking at your senior championships, like the Worlds and the Europeans, and then you've also got this sort of very clear pathway to the Olympics now. How are you feeling about your next 4 years? They look like they're going to be pretty big. I'm feeling ready. When you watch the Olympics, you see all these amazing things that people achieve, especially this year, because I knew the people competing. I knew, I've known two of them for quite a few years. I used to train with them, and it's especially seeing Harry Hepworth. He got a bronze medal on vault. Just seeing him, this guy that you used to know, he's now an Olympic medalist. It's crazy. It's just so motivating. It makes you think, I can do that. And then I'm just ready for the next 4 years. I've got a plan on what I'm going to do, what I need to achieve before I get to the Olympics, and I believe that I can do it, so I'm ready to give it my best shot. And you'd get the tattoo, right?
Oh, absolutely,
100%.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
I don't know. I would get my forearm, but it's a bit basic, innit? everyone gets it there.
But basically, it's the Olympian
it is.
tattoo.
Yeah, it is though. It is, but I don't know. Yeah, to be fair, I don't know where else I get it, so I probably would just get it in my forearm.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Can't exactly.
Nah.
Can't argue with it.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not having it on your forehead or anything.
Nah, but if you have it on your forearm as well and you're wearing just a t-shirt, then people would.
Oh yeah, exactly. Oh, what's that? Oh yeah. By the way,
nothing much really.
Just a little.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, so I mean, circling back round now, where you've obviously got a lot on the horizon.
Yeah.
And when you think back to when you started and you're competing as to be honest, from gymnastics, you're very young. Yeah. Like, did you ever think that it would go this far?
No, definitely not. When I first started, other people in my group that I started with, they were progressing way faster than me. I was thinking, like what? Are these people they're just better than me, just through talent? It was frustrating, But because for gymnastics, I'm not built to be a gymnast. Because most gymnasts are, they're short, they're really short.
Yeah.
And for a gymnast, I'm very tall for a gymnast, really.
Yeah.
So I sort of wasn't built for it, but I had some talent, and I just worked hard. And all it comes down to is if someone with talent isn't working as hard as you, then if you work hard enough, you'll beat them.
Absolutely.
It's just whoever works the hardest.
And I mean,
that's what I think. If I can work harder than everyone else, then I can beat everyone else.
You can break the mold, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. From what the average or perfect gymnast would look like, you sort of break out of it and become something else entirely, don't you? So if you had one sort of tip for someone that was looking to get into gymnastics mainly, but any sort of sport, what would be your number one piece of advice?
Just work hard, honestly. And it sounds like a cliche, but that's what I've done. And you underestimate how you think talent isn't always just an excuse you can use to lose into someone, or not losing, but if someone's better than you and you just say, oh, they're more talented than me, it's just an excuse. Whereas if you work hard enough, then you can beat that person.
Exactly. Yeah.
I believe that anyway.
It's all about the consistency.
Exactly.
Isn't it? All about the consistency.
I believe that.
Anyway, I think that's where we'll end it. Okay. It's been lovely having you. And thank you everybody for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Bye.
See you.